What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo. I played it. I guess you could call this a review of sorts, but kind of just want to talk about my opinion of it and how it gets me, even more excited for the game. So, look, I've kind of told you all about my journey of Final Fantasy as of late. I'm kind of a late bloomer when it comes to Final Fantasy VII even. I did play Remake when it first came out. I replayed it a few weeks back, and this time, though, I went through and looked up, story explained, lore explained of the original Final Fantasy VII. So I would say I'm going into Rebirth with not only, a new understanding of the game and lore itself, but a respect. I really love what they did, back in the day, 27 years ago, and I really like what they're doing now. And I bring that up. Why do I bring that up? Well, I go into this demo with the flashback, basically, episode, right? With a new understanding. So I'm not going to spoil it, if you don't know, but the deeper meanings and the deeper things basically going on with this, part of the game, and obviously will be explored later, whether it's in Rebirth or in the third game. It's just a new layer that I really didn't have. Maybe when I played Crisis Core, I was starting to understand it, but now I really like, what's going on. I think it's excellent. So from a story perspective, I am really happy with it. It's also just really good, I think, to see Sephiroth. It's always cool to see him in this era, of his life. It's a quick transformation. It certainly is. But I like, he's very evil, or he can be very evil. But also, when he's kind of, I wouldn't even say he's all that cocky. He knows he's great, I guess. Everybody knows he's great. But, he's pretty nice to his, people under him. I really like the character, and obviously, they talk about Rebirth as a game in general, that it's going to be pretty Sephiroth heavy, right? And this is kind of the start of it. It also sounds like this demo is the opening of the game. So when you play, or by playing the demo and by beating the demo, you can basically skip over, the first 90 minutes or so of the base game. So I like that. As for the demo itself, I guess beyond story, it really, again, gets me excited for the base game, because I actually think it did a really good job of maybe not showing everything that has kind of been added to it, but you see kind of small tweaks here and there. You do see, I guess, bigger things like playing the piano, right? And I guess that's not the biggest thing of all time, but just, I guess, the quality of the side stuff in this game, and you can see it from the state of play and the trailers. This game, this is basically the infinite wealth, and I saw people saying that. I think it's true. This is the Like a Dragon infinite wealth for Final Fantasy. You got the killer story, you got characters that we all love, and there's gonna be maybe some changes, maybe some things that some people like and don't like, but the story's gonna be wild. But on top of that, you also have this gigantic playground with all of these different enemies. There's gonna be awesome boss fights. There's gonna be so many mini games and just other things to do that if you want to sink your life into it, you can. Now, did you get all of that from the demo? Not necessarily, but the piano, I would say, is a good first look where, just introducing you to, there's a story here. And again, you can get through this demo in an hour and a half, 2 hours. But, if you spend some time and you look around, you can go down some different paths that, isn't the main objective, right? And something like this, you don't have to go very far. In fact, I don't know for sure. Maybe you do have to go into Tifa's house, but you certainly don't have to go all the way. You don't have to go into her room. You don't have to, play the piano. So that is just, to me, an example of, this is the quality, kind of outskirts things that you'll be doing in the game. The visuals still look fantastic, but beyond that, really all that's left to talk about would be the combat. So I really love the combat of Remake. I do. I'm sorry. I'm not. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to apologize for it, because it is such a good combat. I remember liking it, back in 2020. Again, played this game about 2-3 weeks ago again, and loved it even more, I would say, than I did back then. And the combat is really good. It stands out. And I think I have, like I said, in terms of the story and the lore, new understanding, new appreciation, all that jazz. I think I actually have that for the combat as well, because I found myself, when I replayed the game, really using the characters to a much better potential than I did 4 years ago. I was swapping more often. I was really trying to customize these characters to make sure their materia kind of fit with what I was trying to do, or all that jazz. And you don't really get that in this demo. Sephiroth is kind of a locked-in figure, right? But you can play as him, and he is incredibly, incredibly fun to play as. And I will be honest, actually, you can tell from the footage I'm showing you. anytime I really had the chance, I played as him. So if it was a party situation, it was both of them, I always played as Sephiroth. If you're obviously only Cloud, then I only played as Cloud. But they're both really good. Cloud feels very familiar, in a good way. In a good way, but I will say this, and that's not a negative whatsoever, because I actually think there's some major improvements to the fighting. I actually think it flows better. And again, I feel pretty good saying this because I just played it. I just played the last game. So the jump, and from just a few weeks ago to this, it feels a little faster. It feels a little smoother. It feels easier kind of jumping from enemy to enemy. The abilities actually feel kind of refined. Like the triple slash feels better, braver, really all of his skills, they feel better. His long range attacks where you can still hit enemies basically with your sword even if you're a little while away. I don't even know if that was in a remake, and if it was, it wasn't as noticeable as it was, right now. I think it felt a lot better. So I would say over a huge net positive in terms of the gameplay. I will say one thing, the camera, I actually feel because it flowed better, and Sephiroth is a very quick character, his dashes, or when he dodges and stuff, he literally shifts from one place to the next. So his movement is a little different than what Aerith will be, or Tifa and stuff. But I did find that the camera had a lot of trouble following me, and that is something, I'm not terrified about it, but that if there was any negative about the demo, and then it would translate to the base game, I am going to wonder now about that camera, because locking on felt a little weird too. So anything like that, locking onto an enemy and then moving it to another enemy, the camera following you, and just it feeling good, that wasn't necessarily there. But I don't know, is that a trade-off? If the gameplay is going to feel better than ever before, the camera is not going to be able to, capture it as well. I'm not sure. I could be overthinking it, but that is really, and honestly, that's the only thing I can think of in terms of a negative. It's actually not that short. For a demo, an hour and a half is actually pretty darn good. You fight a boss, you get a whole ton of story content, you get some characters, you get some new ones, you get some old ones. There's a ton in this demo. And I think overall, it's amazing. I am so happy that, I'm happy they did it. And choosing this as the segment that we play, I think is also pretty darn cool. I think it sets the scene. It definitely sets the tone. Based off what happens in it. And again, I don't want to get too far into it because I'm sure it'll be stuff that we discuss once the game releases and all that, and future. But now that I know what's actually going on, right? Because a lot of what's going on is not necessarily fake, but it's definitely not how it's shown to be, let's say. Knowing that and understanding that, and then I guess seeing it in this age, right? Visually being able to look at it with just how good it looks and just the way that they're doing it. Again, the appreciation is there. I appreciate what they're doing more and more. So I'm ready. I am very much ready for this game, and this gets me even more pumped. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.